We've run into our first technical difficulty with the new cooking stream strategy. Namely, that for some reason, instead of 2 of the videos, which I will attempt to describe, we have a series of pictures that appear to have been taken about once every minute during the recording of said videos. So, hey, Miriam and Haley are doing a cooking stream. Unfortunately, their explanation of what that cooking stream is, it doesn't exist. So I get to tell you. They are doing, hey, we would like to have a tea. Like British, English, UK, whatever you want to call it. Let's have tea. And they actually split this into 2 episodes. First, you're going to find out what they made to eat with tea. Next week, you'll get to find out what they made to drink with tea. But the explanation of that one, totally fine. Just this first one. Anyway, let's get y'all going with the actual thing. I'm so sorry.
And we have returned!
We're back! Hello!
From our adventure to the grocery store.
Gotta love grocery store.
Especially this grocery store.
Oh, be still my heart. This was
I recently introduced this other King Soopers to Miriam.
It's so beautiful. It's got a home goods section.
Like 3 aisles of home goods stuff. Not just like the dinky, like, quarter of an aisle
where you might
on
be
one
able to
side
find what you're looking for,
where they keep
or
like
not.
super basics.
Yeah.
This one was like full on.
Oh, I was drooling. I was drooling so hard.
You could get dishware.
You got like there was
containers,
the little cheesecake pan and the little tart pan.
There were baking pans and hot
There's this
galore
cheesecake
and
pan
kitchen
that was maybe about
gadgets.
this big around. Think
Yes.
of the tiniest cheesecake you could make with that. So dainty, so
It's
tiny.
adorable.
And not like a muffin tin cheesecake, because those are mini cheesecakes, but it's not like a perfect cheesecake and round.
Yeah, because it's sloped.
Yeah, so.
But anyway, we're back. And
Yes.
So we have returned with stuff and things.
So, in this episode, we're going to be making a couple different things for our summer afternoon tea. We're going to be making 2 types of scones, cheddar chive and lemon raspberry. And then what else?
We're also doing your onion chutney for the
Yes.
chutney and cheddar sandwiches.
Yes, tea sandwiches. It's going to be pretty tasty.
That was spooky, but okay.
What?
Our synchronization.
Oh, y'all have noticed this before, haven't you? Where we do the
I
thing?
would hope so, because
Where-
it's rather often.
It's just like the similar minds, things like that.
Yeah, so we have all our ingredients and stuff. We'll switch over to that and start prepping.
Okay, so I'm going to be putting together the first of our recipes. This is going to be a cheddar cheese and chives scone. So that's going to be pretty good. What I've got here is a couple ingredients. We've got cold butter. Remember, like when making pie crust, you want your butter to be cold so that the scones go fluffy instead of kind of flat and sad. We've got sugar, salt, baking powder, baking soda, and granulated garlic. We have chives. We have 2 eggs. We have chopped cheddar. We have grated cheddar cheese. We have 4 cups of flour. And also, which you can't see, ice cold water. So I'm going to start by putting this together. So what you're going to want to do first is take your flour. We've got 4 cups of that. Stick it into the mixer. Scones are kind of easy because you can do a dry and wet and then combine the entire mess together at once, sort of thing. So further with this, we've got the flour. I'm going to mix in the granulated sugar, the garlic, the baking soda, the baking powder. Toss that in there. A little bit of salt. Good pinch of salt in here. And then I'm going to whiz that up just real quick just so everything is all combined. So that's going to be nice and easy. Then to that, I'm going to add my cold butter and let the mixer do the work of cutting up the butter for me into, I want to say pea-sized pieces, or like kind of small pebbles, like aquarium gravel size pebbles. Good size. and Haley and I are going to be sharing bowls, so all the magical bowls disappearing are going to be used for the sweet.
So they'll come back refilled.
Exactly, they'll come back refilled and ready to go for the next ones. So, as I said, I'm going to let this just whiz up, cut itself in there. So that'll take a little while. Not happy about that. So, in this bowl, I'm going to combine the sour cream, the water, and beaten eggs together, and kind of mix that up loosely. You're going to need 1 cup of sour cream.
If I need to open that.
I think it does. Twist cap off and pull tab. You know, it helps if you actually open everything before you start.
But then again, we are 2 minutes out of Food Network, so.
Yeah, this is not Food Network. We are not Food Network, y'all. Which is why you come and watch us, because it's more fun. There we go. About half a cup. And then we have...
No wonder the mixer's unhappy.
It's cold, as I said, it's cold butter.
Really cold. It's frozen.
Yeah.
Butter.
It's very frozen butter. But let's get that out of there. Just gonna mix this in. Break up my egg yolks. And then 4 tablespoons of ice cold water. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Turn this off and go ahead and look. I think it needs another couple minutes, but it's doing a very good job of breaking up the butter. So if I pull out a little bit of this, as you can see, the chunks of butter in there are slowly breaking down. So that needs just a little bit more time to mix. And I'm doing it at a lower speed so I don't end up throwing flour everywhere. Because that's messy. Okay, that's mixed in. Just gotta wait till this is all ready to go. And we're going. That needs to go just a little bit longer. As I said, we want good sized pieces, nice and small. Yeah, this is good. Sometimes you have to reach in there and break up a couple bigger chunks. But I'm going to move the mixer so you guys can see more of what I'm doing, since I no longer have the giant thing of ingredients out. So as you can see, the chunks of butter are not too big. Sorry for bumping into you.
Very good.
Chunks of butter are not too big, not too small. You still want some butter in there to make it nice and flaky. So, on low speed, I'm going to add in our sour cream, egg, and water mixture. And let that slowly come together. You don't want it to come together too much, too little. With scones, you really don't want to overwork them. Otherwise, you have tough, chewy scones as opposed to light, buttery, and flaky bundles of deliciousness. So that's kind of come together. See, if I squeeze it, the dough holds, but not too much more. Yes, I do. Here we go.
Thank you.
So I'm going to add in the cheddar cheese. I've got 2 cups of grated cheddar cheese right here. We're using smoked cheddar because why the hell not? So I'm going to add that in. Nice brown.
We like their smoked cheese.
We do, because it just adds a little extra something to whatever we're making.
Out of it.
You really do. Make sure okay, human trash disposal. Little piece of cheese.
That's fine.
They'll be fine.
Yeah. Sometimes if they're not feeling well, they get like yogurt and rice.
Okay. So we've got that. We've got green onions. That's going to go in as well. And then we're just going to slowly mix that in. much. So I'm gonna shove this out of the way. And then we're gonna bring everything together on the table. Because what's better than a good table mix to soothe the soul? Okay, just tidying up real quick. Alright, so I'm just gonna dust the counter with a little bit of flour. Actually, can I grab the flour from you real quick?
Yes, I'm done with it.
Perfect. Thank you. So, I got some flour. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on the table, just to prevent it from sticking. Alright, drop this. See if I can get this off. There we go. As you can see, that's a nice crumbly sort of dough with a good chunk of cheddar mixed in. Get that out. We're trying a new angle since there's a new tripod.
Yeah,
So-
I may or may not have snapped the other leg on the tripod.
On the little tripod that we were using for overhead shots. So, we're gonna try side shots.
I think they work pretty well.
They do, they really do. So,
Seller.
there's a little bit of flour in here that didn't quite get mixed in, but that is why we're gonna put it together on the table. Get all the dough out. Don't want to waste any of that beautiful oniony, sour creamy deliciousness. So the sour cream, what it's gonna do is help keep those scones beautifully soft and buttery. So good. Just gonna bring everything together. Go away, Cosmo.
Cosmo,
Go.
out.
That's right, it's out now.
Out. All right. We've been working on it with dinner, so that way when they
Yeah.
are in here.
They're not gonna try to eat everything.
Well, I mean for their dinner, like Cosmo.
Alright,
Out.
grab the
Alright.
rolling pin real quick. That. Some pretty good looking scone
Oh,
dough.
that looks yummy.
It's gonna be so pretty.
Oh, I'm so
Alright,
excited.
I'm gonna grab the rolling pin so I can roll this out to a good size.
Come in here, be a cleanup crew.
Because as you can see, it's not too sticky. Alright, so we have the lovely heavy duty rolling pin. But as you can see, you can squish it, but it's not really too crumbly, too soft. Oh, it smells so good.
It's so yummy.
Because it's got the garlic and the cheddar and the onion in there. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good.
I'm so excited.
So on the counter right now, I've got my little tiny bowl of egg wash ready to go. And as soon as I have this rolled out, I'm gonna bring over my sheet pan that I prepped ahead of time that has,
Parchment.
yay, good, lovely, beautiful parchment paper.
Parchment's like the best thing ever invented.
It is. But yeah, as I said, you really don't want to overwork your scone dough. Let's just give this a good roll out. I like my scones quite thick. Alright.
That doesn't go in here. I just tried to put the baking powder in the fridge.
I mean,
I needed something else from the fridge and I happen to have the baking
Mhm.
powder in my hand.
put a little flour on top so it doesn't stick too much to my rolling pin. But again, you just make it out pretty even to maybe 3/4 of an inch. Just look at that, speckled with all of its cheddary goodness and green onion beauty. So beautiful. As you can tell, we love doing stuff like this. Okay, so rolling pin out of the way so it doesn't magically roll off of the counter.
Oh god.
I have nightmares of that happening. Grab my baking tray, pre-lined with beautiful parchment. Make it fit on the countertop. Shift my scone dough over just a little bit.
Which, since we had flour underneath, it doesn't stick so you
It's
can
not sticking too bad, just do that. Alright, so I'm gonna use a little tiny cookie cutter. Not too big, maybe 2 inches. Then I'm just gonna cut them out. The trick with doing scones, biscuits, things like that is the less you have to rework it, the better. So I'm going to try to be as economical as possible and get as many pieces as I can cut out of here without...
There is another way to cut scones, and we'll go through that with the sweet scones.
Yeah, I just like little, I think round ones are really cute.
I adore round ones.
They're like so perfect and tiny and round, and look at that
Interrupt you for a hot
cross section. Shifting out of the way.
I just need a duster.
So as I said, while I'm doing this, Haley is currently prepping out Cosmo. Currently prepping the lemon raspberry scones that we're going to be doing. Sweet lemon and raspberry. Because tea time, you get a little bit of savory, you get a little bit of sweet. You get the good stuff. But yeah, check this out. Look at that lovely layered goodness. That is going to puff up into some deliciousness. So, I'm just going to continue to punch out the scones. Trying to use as much of this as I can. I think I'll try to get 12 on this tray. Yeah. That way, if they want to rise at all, they've got plenty of room to do so. Yes. Alright, last thing you're going to do before you put these little suckers in the oven, besides rearrange them on their tray, like I'm doing here, is brush them with a little bit of egg wash, which, as we mentioned in our pie episode, facilitates the beautiful golden brown deliciousness. And the thing with making biscuits and scones, you only want to do the top. If you do it on the sides, it's going to stop it from proofing because the glue that is egg wash is going to weigh it down. It's not going to be so nice. And I think I'm going to give these a little crack of fresh pepper on the top before I bake them. What do you think, Haley?
I think that'd be nice. Well,
Just a touch.
yeah.
Not-
No pepper can burn, but I don't think we're doing it hot enough.
No. I'm talking like just like a little whisper of fresh ground pepper. From up high so it has a chance to scatter. Alright, so I'm just going to stick these babies in the oven until they are beautifully golden brown. So see? Ready to go. And we'll check back in with those a little bit later. I'm going to finish cutting these out and baking these off, and then we'll get the sweet ones done.
Alrighty, so before we get started, Miriam's gonna bring over her lovelies that are coming out of the oven.
They're so pretty!
So let's
Oh yeah.
take a quick.
Mmm.
So you can see that little bit of pepper. See how they puffed? You can get in and you can see the angles.
So much cheese.
And this is just the first batch.
This is the first batch. There's another batch of delicious goodness in there for our
coming out.
eating pleasure.
And Gothic's eating pleasure.
And Gothic, because Gothic,
You
are
are
part of it.
You are a gourmand of the lair.
Yay!
So we're so excited because now these cooking shows, streams actually have really meaning.
Awesome food.
Yeah, and they have meaning too.
Yeah.
Alright.
Instead
So-
of us just like, let's cook stuff for fun.
Yeah, so I'm doing a sweet scone, so I have 4 cups of flour, 12 tablespoons of sugar, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder, as well as a full teaspoon of kosher salt. So we're gonna do just about the same thing Miriam did for hers, just ours are gonna be sweeter.
And they've got lemon and raspberry in it.
And
instead
they've
of
got-
chive and
Yes, they're sweet, so
cheese.
that's pretty much all blended together. I'm gonna put the lemon zest in here. I have 1 lemon's worth, which is probably 2 tablespoons?
I would say a heaping tablespoon.
Heaping tablespoon.
Oh, yes.
So that'll go in there, and we'll get that started mixing around.
And then I'm gonna have something going on the stove in the meantime.
Yep, and so we'll toss you over to her in just a second. So that's all come together. So we're gonna add our 2 sticks of butter cubed, ice cold. Probably slightly less ice cold than Miriam's was, which is okay.
The mixer will not protest as much.
Hopefully. We'll see.
It won't be as angry.
Yeah, it's not nearly as angry. So I'll get that going on a low speed. And we also have probably about a half cup of fresh raspberries chopped and then a couple tablespoons of lemon juice, as well as the 2 eggs. And then half and half for this recipe. So we'll let this go for a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to just flash over here. Miriam has
Oil heating on the stove.
oil
So
heating on the stove. But here are some of the ingredients she's going to put in her stock.
So right now, in this measuring cup, I currently have some red wine vinegar. I have some balsamic vinegar and white vinegar together. And then I also have garlic, Dijon mustard, brown sugar, and onions. And I'm going to be making a onion chutney for cheddar and chutney tea sandwiches. I had them for the first time in Scotland, and hot damn, they're amazing.
Alright, so she'll be working on that. Let's check on our butter. Chunks are still a little bit big, so we'll let that go a little bit longer. But it's going to be very, very similar to the same principle of what Miriam did. We're going to mix until it just comes together. And then we will pull it out on the counter and knead it on the counter. I should put an apron on before I get ready.
You're joking about the fact that I remembered to put an apron on before things got messy.
Yeah, so.
One of the things when you're cooking onions like this, what I'm doing is when I'm caramelizing them, you don't want to overcrowd your pan too much, just enough so that they can all cover the bottom. If I was doing much more than this, I would probably do it in 2 batches, because you really want everything to get touch the heat. So, yum.
And another key about caramelizing, let it alone.
Don't touch it too much. Stir it so it doesn't burn, but
you
not
don't
that
need to
much.
like be constantly stirring it or shaking it or whatever. That's sauteing.
Yeah.
We're caramelizing, so she's doing, you know, getting some of those bigger pieces apart. And so
Yep, just kind of thinly sliced. They're all going to really cook down together into a lovely, it's almost like a jam and a chutney mixed together. It's going to be really good.
and back over here. I think we're just about good on our. A couple of bigger chunks in here still, but that's okay. And then the lemon zest is in there. I put the lemon zest in with the flour because I wanted it to have enough time to really get in there and marinate and kind of get those oils released. And so since it's in there and mingling with the flour, you should get a really nice lemon flavor from the zest. Alright, so that's good. So I'm actually going to blend my cream and my eggs together.
That's delicious.
So I'll just break these up just a little bit. This way we'll get a better, more even mixture. Transfer it in there. Stir that around. Pull this back up. And then I'm going to start this on a low speed. Probably like, that's about 2, so that's still low. And we'll just slowly add in our quid. So it's probably about a tablespoon and some change. And we'll shut it off for just a second and dump our raspberries in there. Now mind you, this recipe did not come with, or was not designed for lemon and raspberry, so we're just kind of modifying an existing recipe, so you could use more or less depending on your taste.
How many chunks do you want?
Yeah, how many chunks, how much. So we're just going to put this in there just real quick. This dough is actually going to end up being pink, but that's okay. Because we are using fresh raspberries.
So they
So
break apart real easy.
really, really easy. Alright.
And in the background, I'm just getting some stuff ready for Haley.
Oh yeah, Miriam's just setting me up.
Sometimes that's one of the nice things about cooking with another person is it's like, hey, let me do this thing while your hands are occupied.
Yeah. So we're gonna
Makes it easy.
pull this out. You see,
Ooh,
you
it's
can
almost
see it's
ready.
pink. It'll
Oh,
probably
so
soak up
cute.
quite a bit of flour while we're here, but that's okay.
Yeah, sweet recipes tend to be a little stickier than savory.
Yeah.
Because ours are more like biscuits. The one that I made is a little more like a biscuit than a scone. Which is actually funny because there is a fight over the pronunciation. Is it a scone or a scone? That was an actual argument I listened to
Really.
in Scotland. Yep.
Goodness.
Depending on where you're from.
Depending on where you're from.
Is it a
Gracious.
scone or a scone?
That's terrifying.
It's a real argument.
Things you never knew about the world.
So I'm
Yeah,
just
this is
making
gonna
sure
be
the onions
really
are
sticky.
not gonna burn.
So I'm adding quite a bit of flour to this because this is very, very sticky. Like I said, because of the raspberries and their moisture, I figured it was going to soak up quite a bit of moisture on its own. I really just want to make sure there's enough in there so it doesn't stick. And this one we'll be doing in the triangle method. So I've got a square going. So we're going to do the same thing. Flour the top because we're going to roll it out with a rolling pin. Get my hands off just a little bit.
So just about 4 minutes more, 4 minutes more. And I've got the second pan of scones from mine in the oven, and they'll be coming out soon.
Alright, I cleaned my hands off just a little bit because they were pretty gross. And this is a very soft dough.
Be nice to it.
Be very nice to it.
This isn't like bread dough, which you can like just throw about,
Yeah,
or pasta dough, where you're like must use arm strength,
yeah. this
must
is-
break apart.
I'm not even adding any pressure right here. This is just the sheer weight of the rolling pin.
I mean, you also have a really heavy rolling
We have a
pin.
marble rolling pin, yes.
It's like a, if you want to win in a fight, bring this rolling pin to the fight.
Yeah. I mean, you could straight up just beat the shit out of people with this thing.
Not advised by Lair of Lore.
No, no, we would never advise that, ever. Violence is not the answer, baked goods are.
Well, yeah, that's actually true.
I think that's a good size.
I think that's great. See, I did mine a little thicker, but since these are going to be bigger,
Yeah.
just a little bit bigger, you can go a little thinner. Do you need a kniff?
I need a kniff. There's
Kniff, kniff.
one in there that's clean.
Here.
Thank you. Alright. So we're going to do these in the triangle method. So I'm just going to make a couple cuts. Probably going to do these in 3.
Pop them up and make sure these babies off.
Yeah, so this bottom one's a little bit bigger. Miriam's going to chop the
Yeah.
scones.
Yes!
Oh, honey, those are gorgeous. I'm so happy.
Yes. One thing though is when you do a re-roll, they don't come out quite as pretty.
But that's okay.
These are gonna still taste like magic and sunshine
Specifically,
and cheese.
and cheese.
And cheese.
Magic, sunshine, and cheese.
It's the ladies of lore. We love cheese.
We really do. We were so disappointed when,
Oh God! Don't remind me. I'm happy now. The last farmers market.
yep. Apparently that used to be a really good farmer's market.
The Cadillac. Yep. Yep.
Cadillac my left butt cheek, according
As
to Miriam.
I said.
So I'm just, you could theoretically make diagonal cuts like this, I just didn't think about it. I was just making sure I got diagonals.
Then they're gonna be perfect. But I have a sheet of parchment on a sheet tray.
Standing by, but I'm just, these are so delicate, I'm just going to lift them off and put them here.
This is gonna be so nice.
They're so delicate. So they're vanishing right now, but I promise you'll see them again very soon.
It's how much workspace do we have at any given time?
And we're in an apartment, so not much.
You know, for what we do, I think we do I think we do an impressive job with the space that we actually have.
I would agree, because I mean, honest to God, we really don't have that much space. Okay.
We do pasta dough and fresh pastries on something that's maybe 2.5 by 1.5 foot of kitchen counter space.
Alright. It's gonna be that for the first pan.
So like every good pastry, egg wash.
Yeah.
And I got the parchment for the next one.
So here's these. We'll egg wash. Miriam already showed you how to egg wash, so we'll do that off screen.
Yes. Where we have space. Stealing the egg wash so Haley can tray up the rest of them.
Yeah.
Remember, buddy system. Buddy system cooking.
Is the best kind of cooking.
These are going to be so golden and so sexy. See, there should just be a bingo sheet where like one of the things I do is say, oh, it's so sexy. Look at me think it's so sexy.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I say it every episode without meaning to.
Do you really? I haven't
I
noticed.
think I have, because you made a joke, but you laughed at me when I said it last time.
Oh.
Because I'm like, oh, it's going to be so sexy.
It's incredibly possible that I laughed at you.
What?
I said it's incredibly possible I did laugh at you.
Yeah.
Something like that.
As we joke, I'm kind of the cartoon character.
Alright, and then we have these last two. These maybe last to the cause. Maybe not. Bench scraper for the win.
Good sharp bench scraper.
Maybe not sharp.
You could, you know, if you sharpen that a little bit, you could do some damage.
You could.
It's funny. How many kitchen tools that aren't meant to do damage?
Can actually do damage. Quite a few.
It's because the thing is, we're like, oh, you can do damage with a rolling pin. Instead of going straight for, oh, I have a knife. A knife could do damage. 'Cause
Right.
That's the obvious one.
Yeah, that's the obvious one. That's why, you know, these innocent ones, you're like,
That's the more fun one. That's like, what, in a fight, what were you killed with? Oh, I was killed with a rolling pin.
Yeah. Even a frying pan's a little bit obvious now.
Yeah, sorry, Tangled.
Alright, I need an extra stone. Not enough room on that ground. While we pause for technical difficulties, this is also the magic of a bench scraper.
And all of a sudden, I can stir them. See if I can check those.
Or can you just give me another little section of parchment?
Yeah.
And then my hand's are already gross.
Oh, okay.
There's, yeah. Alright,
Boom.
there. We just need to find space for this last little spoon.
Alright, I'll grab you the egg wash too.
Okay, no worries.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought I left it over on the far counter. This is right
Oh.
here. We're fine.
We're fine, alright.
So I've already added some brown sugar to this. Over here.
Alright.
More brown sugar.
Now you can probably talk and not be deafened by this scrape.
Yeah, nice scrapey scrape sound.
For
I
viewers.
probably, how many onions? I cut up 4 onions or 5 onions. I think I did 4 onions. So in my pan, I have 4 onions, about ½ cup of brown sugar. I let my onions cook till they were going translucent and soft. And then I added probably about ½ cup of brown sugar to help to facilitate the caramelization.
Gracious.
I'm gonna turn that heat up a little bit now. Whew, Gothic, you're gonna be getting some tasty stuff this month. Or next month, rather.
For September, yeah.
Let's actually recap. What is Gothic gonna be getting in his box?
So if you were a Gourmand of the Lair subscriber, you
Become a gourmand of the lair.
on Patreon, you would receive something from each of our cooking episodes. So it's 4 items. So for instance, so Gothic's gonna get some of our pasta sauce,
Which
the golden
one?
tomato,
Golden tomato, golden beets.
golden beets pasta sauce,
Yeah.
and then some of the peach cobbler we made that night as well.
Mhm.
Then he's also going to be receiving a couple jars of simple syrup
Yep.
from our
Blackberry,
cocktail,
ginger,
peach
mint.
and lemon. Breakfast sandwiches from the last episode. And
Mini pies!
And mini hand pies.
I was
So,
there for that.
yep. So that would be, you know, a couple little bits and bites of what we've made. You would receive if you were a gourmand of the lair.
Become a gourmand. Get good stuff.
That should be our
Tasty
slogan
things.
right there.
Get tasty thing? No. Subscribe to Become a Gourmand. Get tasty food. That works.
Alright, so we're going to stick these in the oven. Miriam's working on the caramelized
Onion chutney.
onion chutney. And then we will be back to build some tea time sandwiches.
Yeah. Okay, so the very last component of an afternoon tea is something savory. Served at the beginning of the meal, you've got a nice little tea sandwich. So this is something that I actually had in Scotland that I'm attempting to recreate because I never actually asked her how it was made, I just kind of guessed. So we've got our delicious onion jam that I made earlier. It's kind of a chutney, it's kind of a jam, it's thick, it's seasoned, it's savory, it's so good. And our smoked cheddar, a little bit of butter.
Jam again.
Okay, yeah, sure. So in the jam, I started off with a little bit of oil in the pan, about 4 onions, and I got 4 little pots of it from this. It really cooks down. So there's onions, there's red wine vinegar, there's white wine vinegar, there's balsamic vinegar in there, there's Dijon mustard, there's garlic, there's salt, and there's pepper. And you saute the onions till they're soft. Add, brown sugar, that's the last thing I forgot. Brown sugar till everything caramelizes. Add your vinegars, the garlic, the Dijon mustard, and simmer it till it comes to a really thick, jammy consistency. So without further ado, I'll put together our sandwiches. So we very lightly toasted all of these so nice golden on the outside. Throw a little touch of butter on here.
And you can hear how nice they're toasted.
See? Nice scrape. Your butter's nice and soft too, or some of it is. So I've got the butter, some of the jam. And you're like, Miriam, why are you using shredded cheese? Because the jam holds it on the toast. Yeah.
And you could even do these as like open face sandwiches.
Yes, you could. I'm gonna make them closed face sandwiches and cut them at an angle because we're fancy like that.
You'll see how fancy we are
Yeah.
in just a few minutes.
Oh, I have set us up. I have set us up. But the butter just makes the other slice of bread nice and soft and beautiful. I'm going to cut that baby in half. So what you have here is you have some cheese, you have some onion. Put this on my little plate. Yeah, just wait. I have us completely set up over on the other side. Cut up some more butter. Some more butter off my stick of butter. So I actually just softened this on the top of the stove because we had a crap ton of residual heat, so that helps make it nice and spreadable. Because there's no sense trying to serve cold butter on bread.
Oh,
It doesn't work
worse.
well. It's
No.
messy. It's sticky. You rip your bread to pieces. Oop. Much like that piece. So this is a little cold still. But yeah. It's funny that chutney is an ingredient that I had for the first time in Scotland. They had some of the best Indian food in Scotland. Colonization added one of the few benefits of colonization. But yeah, this stuff is so good. Oh, look at that rich jamminess on that. So you've got your cheese. Last of the cheese. Bit of buttery bread on top. You have nice little sandwiches. If you do it on a full-size loaf of bread, you can cut it into ribbons. So I cut maybe 4 slices out of it. But this is little teeny, dainty little rounds because we're fancy like that. So in a few minutes, we'll show you our finalized tea table. See us then.
Warning. They only filmed one end, so this is going to be the end for this one and next week. Just a warning. See y'all back there in a second.
Okay.
We're done.
We're done.
Afternoon tea.
2-episode culmination.
At afternoon tea.
That's exciting. So, recap of what we've got going on here. On our bottom tier, where you put the savory things.
I learned there's a reason for
There's
this.
an order. There's an order. Any of the afternoon teas I've gone to, you usually, if it's a tiered platter, you put your savory stuff on the bottom. So that's ribbon sandwiches, scones, like savory scones, mini quiches, because that's another thing
What's
you
a
can do.
ribbon sandwich?
It's take a big rectangular sandwich and cut it into like long strips. That's a ribbon sandwich. It's good stuff. So you go savory. Then on the second tier, you would go regular scones if you're doing like a cream tea, or you're doing scones and cream and jam. Your scones go on the second tier. And then on the very top tier, you've got all your little sweets. We only have 2 tiers because,
But that's okay.
yeah, I made a little stand for us out of
Plates.
2 plates and a jam jar.
It's amazing.
It's great. And
So-
then we have our cocktails as well. So we have the hibiscus
Frozen margarita.
frozen margarita. Wow. Hibiscus frozen margarita. We have our Earl Grey blackberry bourbons.
Our 2 renditions.
2 renditions of it. Because we didn't like the first one. And we're not sure how we like the second one either.
Yeah, I just think it's not the drink for us.
I'm not a huge bourbon person.
Neither of us are.
But if you like bourbon,
It's a nice drink.
it's a good drink.
And then we have our cocktail, which is basically a tea-based White Russian.
It's good stuff with Irish breakfast tea.
Irish breakfast tea, vanilla, simple syrup, and a little bit of half and half.
It's good stuff. And on our tea tray, we have our scones with cheddar and green onion. We have our little baby tea sandwiches with onion chutney, cheddar cheese, smoked cheddar
Put them
cheese.
on my plate.
Yeah, because we're going to totally dig into these when we're done with filming this.
And then we have
Little raspberry scones, raspberry and lemon.
and lemon sweet scones.
So,
And we both have our respective drinks that we like.
yes, because I'm super into this hibiscus margarita, because this is delicious.
And this has been a favorite for a long time since I helped Miriam taste test it.
As you can see, it's like a half, barely full cup. We've been
Yes.
sipping in between.
We've been sipping while we
So.
waited for the camera to church. Anyway, cheers.
Hey all, thank you very much for tuning in. We will be back again tomorrow with whatever Friday is. I can't remember. My brain is gone. Thank you all for watching. We will see you all tomorrow. Bye guys.